Connecticut Nature Conservancy is doing some hard work trying to protect living creatures across our state.
That includes birds nesting on some of our beaches. Olivia Schueller is live along the shore to show us how. Olivia, how's it going? How's the binoculars going?
Scott, I gotta watch that back later because I'm just laughing at myself, like zoomed up like this. But I was bird watching. I was attempting to bird watch. And for you at home, if you want to bird watch, that's why we have the experts with us here to talk about how to safely do so, because we don't want to intrude on their habitat. That's right.
That's correct, yeah. So if you come to a beach and you see the string fencing, which means there's birds nesting in the area, in Connecticut, we do believe you can share the shore, but you just need to take some steps to be careful. So if you see the string fencing, it's best to walk down by the water line so that you're giving those birds some additional space. If you see birds maybe with chicks down by the water line, walk around them. If you see a flock of birds, because in Connecticut we are getting into migration season and a lot of shorebirds are passing through, so if you see a flock, walk around them, give them space. Another thing you can look at is the tide. So when it's low tide, there's a lot of room for everybody, for birds, for people. It's a great time to visit the beach. If you notice that it's high tide, there's going to be less space for everybody. So maybe that's a time to just sort of take a look quickly and then move on. Maybe don't linger if it's high tide because we don't want to cause these birds any additional stress.
Yeah, and perfect. Right where we're standing here on Goshen Cove, this is a good spot for people to watch the birds, and I would think that binoculars are a good way to do that. Do you recommend people having those as well?
Absolutely. If you have binoculars or a viewing scope, which you can see, we got one here, it means you can see the birds from a distance without getting too close. A really good camera with a big zoom lens too, another great way to sort of see these birds without getting too close, giving them the space that they need to raise their young.
Perfect. And for people watching at home that don't know exactly what these birds look like, can you describe it to them?
Sure. So the piping plover is a really small shorebird, and its back is the color of sand, and it has a white belly. It has a precious big dark eye. The adults, they have an orange bill with a black tip and orangey yellow legs. They have a black collar, and then they have this black stripe on their forehead, and then it's white underneath, kind of like they're wearing a headlamp. And you would think with all those stripes and orange that they'd be easy to see, but they are nearly invisible until they move. So it's really hard to see them, and that's another reason why we need to keep them safe, because you might not even be aware that they're on the beach when they're here.
Yeah, I definitely noticed that they tend to hide a little bit, which is why we have our gear with us. But another thing we talked about is people that are bringing dogs around. Anything you can tell people about making sure the dog's on a leash, and just any FYI to them?
Yeah, so at all the beaches in Connecticut where there are nesting birds, dogs are not allowed. So ideally, yes, don't bring them to the beach. And the reasoning for that is even whether a dog's off a leash or on a leash, the birds see it as predators. And what a parent bird will do is they'll do something called a broken wing display, where they'll sort of fake a broken wing, and they will lead you away from their eggs or lead you away from their chicks. They're sort of escorting you out of the area. But in that time period that they're trying to lead you and your dog away, their chicks and their eggs are vulnerable. They're vulnerable to the heat if it's a really hot day, if it's a stormy, wet day, they're getting soaking wet, they're also vulnerable to natural predators. So, even if your dog's a really behaved dog and it's on a leash, the birds still see it as a predator, and they're still going to do this behavior, which is going to leave their chicks vulnerable.
Perfect. Well, good to know. Well, I feel like I definitely got my dose of science class this morning, and I'm going to go back over here and maybe we can find some more. But Scott and Nicole, we'll send it back to you while I go back to bird watching, okay?
All right, good luck there.
Sounds good,
Good luck
Olivia.
there, Olivia.
All right, also coming up tomorrow on Great Day at 9 it's time for a summer tent sale. Karen from Just Hatched is here to tell us all about the big event for kids, clothes, and gifts. That's on the shoreline.
Absolutely. For Wine Wednesday, we're heading to Saltwater Farm Vineyards to check out one couple's second act.
And we're also getting a sneak peek of the productions at a brand new theater company called Playhouse 44. A lot of theater happening this summer for sure around the state. So we hope you join us tomorrow morning at 9. And of course, there's a new Great Day Connecticut today at 3.